What's happening, folks? Back with another reaction, back with some more Laura Branigan. And I'd like to give a big shout out to major friend and champion of the channel, Scott, once again, who sent me multiple Laura Branigan releases. We just finished going through the Best of Branigan compilation, and included in that compilation was the first track on the album here, the lucky one, so we'll be skipping ahead to the second tune, which is the title track. But I should mention he sent a deluxe edition of Self-Control here, meaning it has the regular album, and then the second disc includes remixes, B-sides, and extras, so very excited to go through this all. And yeah, ultimately, again, I've heard a couple people who are friends of the channel comment that they're particularly fond of this album, and ultimately I did mention to Scott that going into this deep dive, as far as I know, the only tune I was familiar with is Gloria, so I don't believe I've heard anything on the album. But as I said, we will be jumping ahead to the second tune, which is Self-Control. And this is a 1984 album. I don't remember if I just said that, but yeah, we're still in the first half of the 80s with the original release of this, although again, this is a deluxe edition. And yeah, self-control is a concept. It's the idea of not being too extreme or letting your emotions carry you into reckless behavior. It's about understanding maybe your own potential vices or your proclivities towards certain dangerous or reckless behaviors, and therefore tempering those or trying to keep them in check. But it's the idea of not needing a standard imposed upon you, not having to rely on the effect or imposition of others, but rather controlling yourself, moderating yourself. So I do wonder if we're talking emotions, I do wonder if we're talking getting involved with other people and relationships. It does feel like the tunes I've gone through, a number of which have been covers, fair to say, but choosing to cover a tune suggests on some level that you identify with it, at least in part. So yeah, it seems like a number of tunes I've gone through from her do deal with heavy emotions and maybe unreciprocated love in some cases, or love that no longer exists. So I do wonder what we'll be dealing with here. Let's find out. This is Self-Control, the title track of Laura Branigan's 1984 album of the same name. As a night owl, I agree. Forest of my dreams.
I must believe in something, so I'll make myself believe it. This night will never go.
I didn't expect that interlude. the transition back to the next verse.
In the day, nothing matters. It's the night, time matters. I live among the creatures of the night.
I as
I
well.
haven't got the will to try and fight against a new tomorrow, so I guess I'll just believe it. Tomorrow never knows. I said night. I'm living in the forest of a dream.
Love that line a
I
lot.
know the light is not as it would seem. I must believe in something, so I'll make myself believe it. This night will never go.
It's so crazy, like, it's something I never would expect, but it's so fantastic.
You take my self-control. You take my self-control. You take my self-control. You take my self-control.
But that expression,
You take my self-control.
you take my self-control.
You take my self-control. You take my self-control.
Those high, almost like chime-like melodic bits, but that big, like, I can't think of how to characterize it, but that big interlude with the male vocal, which, again, I'm assuming that was a male vocal. The first time it came in, I didn't expect it. It was big, it was dramatic, it was like perfect, even if it was entirely unexpected. And I like the way it gelled with Laura's singing, like in the parts like after the initial appearance of it. But yeah, ultimately a track that I'm not sure all about thematically, but she is talking about, you know, she's a night person, she's not a morning person, she lives among the creatures of the night. And again, that phrase that like, you take my self-control, I wasn't thinking about it in that regard, that like, you could feel moderated, you could feel like I'm in control of things and whatever, and then someone comes into your life and oh man, now like I'm feeling, you know, like very infatuated, or I'm off my game, like psychologically, emotionally, now I'm feeling very, you know, emotionally like volatile, or you know, I don't know what to expect, whereas up until that point you had felt like you had everything under control. So maybe that was part of it. It felt like maybe that phrase suggested that. But again, I enjoyed not only the composition of the tune, just the sounds and the nature of the parts, but again, the way it played out. That first time that interlude came in, that was a shock, and that was a really cool thing. And then yeah, her vocal performance, not the biggest, not the craziest I've heard, but once again, just, you know, right where it needs to be, it felt like. And ultimately, it's interesting, a song about self-control, and then like having a vocal performance that's not like, you know, shooting into the sky. Like, I feel like maybe there's something there conceptually, but perhaps in certain moments, you know, the emotion coming through and indicating perhaps that you've lost that self-control, not because, you know, you don't know how to function anymore, independent of anything else, but because someone has muddled that situation. So either way, I look forward to hearing what people have to say about this. Again, it sounds like this is one of her more acclaimed albums, and I assume on some level the title track would be considered significant if, you know, that is the case. And ultimately, as I said, we have a second disc to go through when we're done with the album proper, which has seemingly a number of tunes, so it's 11. And the proper album has how many? It looks like 10. So yeah, lots to go through in this, and indeed, even this isn't the end of all the Laura. So once again, shout out to Scott, who's made the Laura journey ready to go for the foreseeable future. I do want to mention I enjoy this picture on the cover a great deal. She looks like she has a bit of mystery. She looks like she's ready to be creative. As I said, it looks like she's playing the piano, even though the artwork, you know, sort of obscures her hands. But in any case, looking forward to the rest of the album. Let me know what you think. I will see you next time. Peace.